Howdy folks, this is Jared with Fluty Homestead, and this morning I'm out here in my little corn patch, and I've had several people ask me, how do you know when your corn is ready to pick? So, and also, I've had people ask me about the rattlesnake pole beans, of how to know when they are ready to pick, because they're a little bit, you can pick them in 2 or 3 stages, I think. So I'm going to show you today how I determine when my corn and when my rattlesnake beans are ready to harvest. Okay, we're here in my little patch, and I have 2 rows in this little patch here that is Silver Queen sweet corn. And you can see this ear here, these are the silks, and you see how nice and dark these silks are, and they're kind of dried up. This is how I determine this ear is ready to harvest. And we'll take and pull this shuck down a little for you, so you can see that this ear is good and full. And it is full, pretty well right to the top. And that is beautiful corn right there, ready to eat. And I'll show you over here next to it. Here is some that is still nice and white. So this is not near ready. It's still making an ear. You see how little this ear is? It ain't big as nothing yet. Same way right here, this ear's a little smaller. But this has got nice black silks. I can get the corn out of the way. And I'll pick that ear as well. Here's some more. These are still snow white. And you see how long they are too. These are real long and fuzzy. And not near ready yet. Move on down. Here's a nice ear ready to pick. Nice black silks. And this should be, oh yeah, there's a few ants on this. But this is corn. This corn here is full right to the tip. And that is pretty. This Silver Queen is really good corn. Used to be one of the most popular varieties of sweet corn that there was. And a lot of people's got into all this real hybrid, new hybrid stuff that's super sweet and stuff. And but I like this Silver Queen. It's sweet, and yet I don't have as many bug problems with it. And it grows about 8 feet tall. So I can grow my pole beans in it. And I'll show you right here. This here is broke off. I had some wind damage. But you see I got these big beans growing in it. And it holds it up really well. And this corn is good for just making roasting ears. Putting them on the grill. Good to freeze. Here in Kentucky we pickle it. It makes a real good pickle corn. It's probably the best for pickle corn that you can get, I think. And all around just a good corn. And I like it grows good and tall. My ears is up off the ground and a little harder for the coons to get. I used to grow a lot of ambrosia, but them little coons, they could sit flat on the ground and eat an ear of ambrosia and not even have to work for it. So I like this Silver Queen, the Golden Queen, and I grow candy corn. I like it, and the Honey Select. I like the Honey Select a lot. But just thought I would show you how I determine when my corn is ready to harvest. And also, if you get a little anxious and you're wanting a mess of corn and it's not as dark as this, if you get some that is almost that dark, if it starts getting real dark, I've went ahead and started pulling a few ears to have a few to eat. But now it won't be full all the way to the top. It might be half an ear or on up a little bit. But if you want it full to the top, you let her get nice and black like this, and it's ready. Don't let it sit too long though after that, because once all them kernels starts to mature, let me pull this down. Once it gets full to the top like that, it'll start moving on to the next stage, and this will start dying, and that corn will get hard. And because the whole purpose of corn is to make seeds for itself. So once it goes past that, it'll start getting hard, and it won't be as nice and tender. So that's how I determine when my sweet corn is ready. So I will show you now how I determine when my rattlesnake beans are ready to harvest. Okay, we're up here with our rattlesnake beans now. And these are our third picking off of them, so these beans may not be quite as big as they had been the first few pickings. But as you see, some of these are nice and full, and they're only about 6 inches long, or maybe a little less. But then you're going to get some, the majority, are these big old nice beans here. And I've had them get close to a foot long. They get really, about 8 inches is you see, there's my hand. And they'll get a little longer than that sometimes, but that's a nice rattlesnake bean. And these here, you can start to feel, these are still fairly flat for a rattlesnake. You can start to feel a few little bean in them. But I start picking them when they get about like that. And they're a nice tasting bean. And then to be a pole bean, these, you see how full this one's getting. And it is a nice big bean here. And they are really good when they get a nice big kernel in them. And when they get, I'm trying to find one that's overly, here's one that's really old. But you can see here, this one is ready for just the seeds. And I'll shell this one out and save it for seeds for next year. But they get real purple. When the older they get a lot of purple stripes in them. And when you cook these or can these beans will turn just as pretty and brown and get some real dark brown stripes in them. Here's an ugly one. This one is starting to get some purple stripe on the top of it. And when the older they get kind of striped. There's a good little mess of beans on here. This is the third picking though, like I said, so I won't have as many and they won't be quite as nice a bean as my first two pickings was. But you can see here how good these are filling out. And that is prime for a rattlesnake bean. But like I told one lady that was asking about these, I start picking mine, but you can start picking them before they get that full, but I like them the best when they get a nice bullet in them, we call them. But whenever they start getting a good size, bigger than your half runner or something, you can start picking these. Like this one here, it don't have much of a seed in it, but it still is a good tasting bean. So that's whenever I determine when my rattlesnake beans are ready. Whenever they start, you can start seeing them beans swell out on the side of them a little. That's whenever I started picking them the most. That's my favorite. And these here, you see how striped these are? These I will shell out. I won't eat the hull on these, because when they get this striped, they're getting pretty tough by now. So those will get shelled out. And here's some nice ones. A small rattlesnake bean is, 6 inches long. They get big. They're a really nice bean. It don't take many to make a good mess of these. And we will pull one of these and I will compare it to, let me find one of them nice big ones here. Let's see. Okay, we'll pick this one. And I will take you over here and show you one of these compared to like one of my greasy beans. And these are a small bean anyway. But you can see here's a rattlesnake on the left, and here is a greasy bean on the right. And you can really see the difference. And these are so much easier to pick a bunch of them than these little things. If you pick a bushel of these greasy beans, then you've really done some work. And I'll take you over here now, and I'll compare these two, to a common white half runner bean. Okay, here we have the three: the rattlesnake, the greasy bean, and then a common. This is a state half runner, I think. They get a little bigger than that sometimes, but that's an average size half runner bean. Out of all three of these, this little greasy bean is absolutely my favorite. It has a taste like none other. It's a little brown striped bean as well. But it is a really, really good bean. But if you're wanting to grow a lot of beans in the same amount of space, then I would grow these rattlesnake pole beans. Or another one just as good as it is a Missouri Wonder. It is a fabulous bean. But I just wanted to show y'all how I determine when to harvest my corn and my beans here. While I'm talking about it, the greasy beans, you see how them little sides swell out like that? And you can see the kernels in it good. When you see them beans get nice and plump like that, that's when I harvest my greasy beans. When you can see them little beans sticking out on the side of them, that's when I started picking them. Pretty well the same as these. If you pick these before you get a bean in them, and you ain't gonna have much. So that's the way I do it. And I'm sure there's a lot of other opinions on this, and I just want to show you mine. And I appreciate y'all watching. And if you haven't already, please like and subscribe. Hope y'all have a very blessed day.